Okay, so now let's look at our last resource that we can use for guided reading, which is our Learning A through Z resources. So I logged into Clever, and now I'm going to click right here where it says Learning A through Z. And then you're going to want to leave the dashboard. So, as soon as you log in, you're going to see your dashboard and go right up here to Raz Plus. And this is where all of your resources are actually housed with your leveled sets. And we're going to look at a leveled set. So right here on resources, I'm going to click it, and then I'm going to go to leveled text, and then I'm just going to click all leveled books. And now I can actually decide, like, where are my students reading? Okay, well, they are reading at, let's say, an F. And so now I only want to see, I'm going to filter it because I only want to see the level F. And then I am going to find a book. I'm going to go with At the Movies because it is nonfiction. I think that they'll be able to make a connection with it. So I always try to look for stories that they can make connections with. Or I look for a story that is theme-based and it follows like what we're learning about. So if we're learning about animals, I'll find something about animals. If we're learning about friends, I'll find something about friends. If we're doing like culture, I'll find some book from a different culture so we can learn about it. So let's look at the Movies. And then this is great because all of your resources truly are right here ready to go. I like this platform because I can use it for my virtual learners and I can use it for my in-person learners because I can actually assign this book to my virtual learners and we can do guided reading virtually the same way that we would do guided reading in person, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. You have right here where you can click on the way that you would like to print these books. So single-sided book, double-sided book, or a pocket book. You want to make sure that as you are printing these out, you need to print one for every student. Every student still needs their book. So if you go down right here, you can see the worksheets that have to go with this. They have a comprehension phonics, so I usually just click right there to download, and then I always click my actual lesson. And then I like to do the comprehension quiz, which is definitely a part of that independent practice work. But then I also like to download these discussion cards that I will let the students take this to a center. So again, a lot of the center work is just strictly from what we have. We've already read the book, we're familiar with the book, and now they're going to take that book and they're going to work on some of these activities. And so I get them from here as well. And so now let's look at the resources that we have. So these resources are their worksheet resources that they can use. And this is your actual teacher guide, what you're going to be looking. It still has the same breakdown before reading, during reading, and then after reading. So this is yours. You want to go through and just look at what you're going to be working on with them. Again, the first day of every book, it doesn't matter what system you are using, you want those kids to get into that book, dive into it, figure out those words, make connections with those pictures before you actually start to do some heavy work with it. And so that's why we're looking at this. It tells you the materials that you're going to need right here. And then it also tells you some vocab words. These are critical words that they need to know. So usually before I even give them the book, I introduce these words to them. And then I ask them if they can find these words in the book. That way it makes it a little bit better when they're going through and they're trying to read it. They're not struggling as much. They can really focus on that comprehension. And then you also have these discussion cards, which I love these. It's just one page. So what I'll do is I'll cut these up, I'll put them in a baggie, and then when they leave me, they go to the collaboration station. And in the collaboration station, especially if I was downstairs in first grade, I would just take a piece of manila paper, I would fold it, I would have it ready for them. And in their boxes, they would have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would label these right here, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they would be answering these questions as they're working. Now this is a level F, so if you were in the level C's, the questions are going to be a little bit simpler. That way they can read these questions. So this is your Learning A through Z. Again, I love this. There's little videos right here at the bottom in case you ever needed help figuring out like how to actually put these books together. These are awesome as well. Now you can also project these. These are projectable. So if you're doing virtual learning and you're trying to do your guided reading, then I would project these is what I would normally do so they can see it. I always make sure I work on that phonics lesson and then that phonological awareness lesson to make sure that as they're continuing practicing these skills on their own, they can kind of reach back to some of the lessons that we've had together on how to decode and sound out these words. So this is your Learning A through Z. And then if you like this book, maybe you might want to use it later. You can always add it to your cabinet. You can make a new folder. That way you can access it a little bit better. And I know that we have a system to do running records with, but remember that when you are looking at your RAS Plus, your Learning A through Z app, you still have benchmarks that you can use here. So usually when you use a very systematic approach like the Fontes and Pinnell, there's only 2 to 3 books per level. So you really want to leave that for like maybe the district testing when we do like beginning, middle, and end of year running records. However, don't forget that you have these RAS Plus ones that can help supplement some of those running records. All right, so this is our Learning A through Z resources. I'm going to stop the screen share and